Halloween, a night of shadows, of masks, and sometimes of things no one dares to face. Behind the flickering lights, beneath the laughter and music, something may be watching you, waiting for the perfect moment to show its true nature. Welcome to the channel where the most ordinary stories hide the darkest, most unexpected truths. Tonight, we step into 3 terrifying true tales, each one unfolding under the cover of Halloween night. And if you're watching this alone, make sure the doors are locked. And whatever you do, don't look out the window. Story 1. The Man Behind the Curtain. A hotel invasion in the dark. I used to think stories about people getting stalked or having their hotel rooms broken into only happened in movies, until that night in Las Vegas. I was 21, and our friend group decided to throw a birthday weekend for Dom, a real Vegas trip. We booked 3 rooms at the Gold Coast Hotel, just a short walk from the Strip. I shared a room with Joey. We were buzzing with energy, that typical reckless kind of youth that thinks Vegas is a playground with no limits. After checking in and grabbing dinner at In-N-Out, we roamed the city and ended up at the Bellagio Casino. The casino floor was massive, overwhelming. Joey and I weren't big spenders, we just hit the slots, sipping free drinks from cocktail servers. An hour later, the group wanted to head to Lily Bar. Out of habit, I checked my pockets for my wallet. Gone. My heart skipped. I tore through every pocket, nothing. Panic set in. Sweat started beating down my neck. No one could remember the last time I'd had it. I told the others to go ahead. Joey handed me the room key and they moved on. I rushed back to the Bellagio, retraced my steps, even checked Lost and Found. No luck. My last shot, head back to the hotel. I got to the 2nd floor where our room was. Swiped the key card, red light. Again. I wiped it on my shirt, hands shaking. Finally, green. The door unlocked. The room was silent. Lights were still off, just as I'd left them. I searched everything. Dug through my luggage, pulled back the blankets, crawled under the table. Nothing. I collapsed onto the bed in frustration. As I reached for the room phone to call the front desk, the woman on the other end asked, "Sir, didn't you just come to the desk 5 minutes ago asking for your room number?" I froze. No. I've been at the casino for nearly 2 hours. That wasn't me. My heart started pounding. I hung up immediately. Something felt wrong. I had to check the room again. I walked toward the bathroom, gripped the doorknob ice cold. I opened it slowly. The light was off. It was quiet. But then, in the faint glow from the bedside lamp in the next room, I saw it. A silhouette. Someone standing behind the shower curtain. Tall, motionless, silent. I didn't wait. I slammed the door shut, bolted into the hallway, and called the front desk. "There's someone in my room. A stranger. Please send security. Now." 4 minutes later, 2 security guards arrived. I let them in. And there he was, standing in the middle of the room. A man in his 30s, wearing a mask, arms raised, still, silent. They restrained him. In his pocket was my wallet. The police arrived. He confessed he'd found my wallet outside the Bellagio, used the ID inside to impersonate me, walked right up to the front desk, asked for my room number, and they gave it to him. He used my lost key card, entered my room, and hid in the bathroom. Waiting for what I don't want to know. I still wonder, what if I had pulled back that curtain? That night I slept curled up on the couch in the hotel room with all the lights on. I didn't shiver because I lost my wallet. I shook because I knew how close I'd come to becoming a story no one would ever get to hear. Story 2. The room on the 17th floor. Las Vegas is bright, loud, and endlessly alive, but beneath the lights and glamour, Sometimes something waits in the dark. This happened a few years ago. 3 friends and I rented a room at Bally's Hotel. Everything was normal, until I found out Bally's used to be the MGM Grand, the site of a horrific fire in 1980 where 85 people died of smoke inhalation. When we booked, I had skimmed a few reviews mentioning strange smells, whispers, and odd things happening on the upper floors, but I brushed it off as internet creepypasta. On our second night, after a few games at the casino and just enough drinks to get in the mood, we returned to the room to get ready for the club. I drank more than I should have. My memory fades around the time we lined up outside Omnia nightclub. I vaguely recall the bar, the dance floor, and then I woke up, alone, back in our room on the 17th floor. My head pounded like a drum. I sat at the edge of the bed, disoriented, trying to piece together the night. That's when I heard a light cough. Faint, almost like a child, coming from the hallway. I stood up and checked the peephole. No one there. The hallway was empty. I felt uneasy, but told myself, probably just someone's kid. I crawled back into bed. It was about 3 a.m. Then the cough again. Closer this time. Still that small, dry, childlike sound. But I was too drained to move again. I shut my eyes and tried to ignore it. Suddenly, beep, beep, the fire alarm blared. Red emergency lights flashing. I jolted upright, my heart hammering in my chest, and in the flicker of red light, I saw him. A small boy, thin, still, standing in the corner of the room facing me. With every strobe of the alarm, he was still there, expressionless, silent. On the 4th flash, I screamed. I rolled off the bed, crawled under the side table, heart racing. I didn't know if it was a ghost or just a drunken hallucination, but it felt too real, too detailed, too alive. I stayed there frozen. When I finally looked up again, the boy was gone. And strangely enough, the fire alarm had stopped. I sat against the wall, shaking. Tried texting my friends. They didn't return until nearly 4 a.m. I almost didn't tell them. I didn't want to sound drunk or crazy. But the next morning, curiosity got the better of me. I looked it up. There were multiple reports of people hearing a child coughing on the 17th and 18th floors. Some claimed they saw a boy standing quietly in the corner of their room. And in the official reports of the 1980 fire, at least 3 children died on those upper floors, lost in the smoke. No one knows why they still linger. Maybe they never got the chance to leave. Maybe no one heard them crying for help. Whatever the reason. That night is burned into my memory. And now every time I check into a hotel, I listen more carefully, especially when I hear someone cough in the dark. Story 3. The Imposter in the Festival Night. The first time I tried to step out of my comfort zone almost became the last night of my life. It was 2018. 3 friends and I, Jess, Marissa, and Nicole, flew to Las Vegas for the Electric Daisy Festival. I wasn't into EDM. I wasn't into drugs. But I thought, why not just once, for the experience? We booked an Airbnb in North Vegas. Jess, who had been to EDC a few times, said she knew a guy who could get us some Molly. She left to meet him while the rest of us had lunch. That night we dressed up for the festival. The girls wore outfits that barely covered anything. I spent hours trying to find something that looked, at least, normal. Before getting in the Uber, Jess handed each of us a small Ziploc bag and said, "Just a little, it helps you feel the music." I hesitated, but then thought, it's just a little. I'll be fine. I took a small dose. Nothing happened. On the way into the festival under the cover of darkness, I took a bit more quietly. Hours passed. The lights, the sound, the sea of bodies moving. It all became too much. Everything spun. The ground didn't feel real. My mind felt hollow. And just like that, I was lost. I don't know how I got separated. The crowd pushed and swayed. I couldn't find my friends. Panic started to creep in until a man appeared. He looked friendly. "Hey, I know where Jess is. I can take you to her." My ears perked up. He said Jess's name. So I followed him. We weaved through the crowd, past the music, past the lights, into darker areas. "Where's Jess?" I asked. He said he'd call her. I handed him my phone. He pretended to talk, then said, "Jess went back to the hotel. One of the girls got sick. I'll take you to them." We weren't staying at a hotel. We had an Airbnb, but in my foggy state I didn't catch that red flag. I got into the car with him. We started driving. I glanced at the GPS on the screen. The destination was 15 miles away. My heart dropped. "Wait, what hotel?" "We don't have a hotel." I turned to him. "Where are we going?" He chuckled awkwardly and said to the driver, "She's my girlfriend. Just a little too drunk. I'm taking her home." I snapped. "I don't know him. Please, stop the car." The driver paused, confused at first, but then saw the fear in my eyes. He pulled over. The man protested. The driver ordered him out. I burst into tears. The driver apologized and said he couldn't take me back into the festival, no re-entry. So he drove me to our Airbnb. My hands were shaking as I typed the door code. I locked myself in the room and frantically called my friends. Thankfully, Jess had realized I was missing. She came back early to find me. The others stayed at the festival. I passed out from exhaustion. In the morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls and several messages from an unknown number. "Are you okay? Send me your location. I'll come get you. Seriously, you made me look like a kidnapper in front of that driver. What the hell?" I blocked the number immediately. That was the first and the last time I ever touched Molly. To this day, I still think if I had waited just a few more minutes, if I hadn't questioned the hotel lie, if the driver hadn't believed me, I might have disappeared that night, lost in the lights of Vegas. Another story no one would ever know how to explain. Halloween isn't just about costumes and candy. It's the mask that hides unanswered mysteries, those who don't belong to this world, and dangers you never saw coming. If you've ever had a terrifying Halloween night, don't hesitate to share it below. And don't forget subscribe so you won't miss the next chilling story. Like if this gave you goosebumps, and comment to tell us, have you ever had a night you'll never forget? Sleep well, if you dare.